Well, hello everyone. This is another episode of CF Weekly. Nikki is out this week. This is episode 43 officially, and so I'm bringing on our friends of the pod, Tim and Mark here. Bring them on right now, and we're here to discuss. I don't know the I guess the phenomenon or the deep seek madness that's been happening the past couple of weeks in the AI realm. And I thought, I know Mark and Tim have been doing some work in their home labs recently as well. So this is a good a good opportunity to discuss some home lab work, how we can utilize the Tanzu Platform, and explore some of the latest AI models as well. So without further introduction, how are you guys doing today? Anything fun and exciting going on?
Yeah,
Mark, how about you?
Good. Thank. Oh, go ahead.
No, sorry.
I was out meeting some new friends on the West Coast, so I'm running on caffeine today. I had 24 hours out in Arizona, so I'm back in person. No comments on the amount of coffee that I consumed this morning. Yeah, the world kind of got turned on its head in the last week with Deepseek. So when you said, "Hey, let's talk about Deepseek," I'm like, "Yeah, let's go learn." It's a very interesting development.
Yeah, I'm sort of in this this catch-up mode. You asked me yesterday to be on the podcast, so in the true spirit of Tanzu and Cloud Foundry, I went and I downloaded or I added the model just so I could understand what's going on. I've been reading the news and everything else, but I haven't actually tried it. But I got the model added this morning, and I've been messing around with it. And yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Nice. Yeah, let me get a screen going here, and we can kind of talk about some things. But like, as we talk about this with DeepSeek, right? And we're talking about AI models and things. So that I guess the big I don't know. Was it Monday where like the market kind of went insane, where we had lots of crash or whatever? Where I guess there is this connotation or thread that because or there's even kind of controversy around Deepseek-r1, which was I don't know, maybe last week, and then it started scoring very close or a little bit higher than the latest reasoning model from OpenAI. I think like 01 or whatever, I believe. And then shortly thereafter, there's some kind of commentary that how they trained the model and how much money and time was spent, and it was orders of magnitude lower than some of these other kind of I guess large frontier models coming from like Meta or OpenAI or Anthropic or whatever. So then there's a slight I guess maybe overreaction from the stock market about well, if DeepSeek can train these models, and maybe we don't need all these GPUs and that type of thing. Hence, NVIDIA, Broadcom, our own stocks kind of took a big hit. But we're starting to see some recovery, and I guess my take on that is that I think if anything, what DeepSeek has released is that has kind of proven that you can get an open source model with very good scoring. If anything, it's just going to drive more adoption. I think we're already starting to see that where more and more people are trying to run this in their labs or in their data centers, things of that nature. So
yeah, I think it's just a follow on from what was it, a year ago, back in May, the Google we have no moat, but no one else does either, and it's sort of the next version of that same statement. As innovation continues, there'll be disruption over whose model is the best. Kind of selfishly paints a picture for being able to broker to any model being a nice fun thing to have.
Oh yeah, or just easily swap models out or load models on the fly. So yeah, definitely plays into some of the strengths that we've been working on for the past year or two, I guess, at this point.
Yeah,
it's amazing how the news cycle just kind of like just went through ebbs and flows in such an accelerated manner over the last few days, where everybody was, it was up high, and then all of these other things happened, and security vulnerabilities and whatnot came in, and now we're back down, and then they're starting to respond to those things. So it's it's very interesting to see how these things evolve very quickly, and how our sentiment about these things changes so quickly as well.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing too with DeepSeek, specifically, is like in the AI space, like new models have been happening for quite some time,
right?
And like DeepSeek has been out for a while. Like I've used I use like the DeepSeek Coder, like one of the original models for like code completion and things, and I still use that just because it works really well, and it runs great on one of my GPUs, and like it's integrated into my VS Code, and like my continued dev plugin. I've done a few demos doing that a while ago. That just works really well. So that they've been out for a while, but I think somehow we hit this like critical moment of like they had an app in the App Store, like it became number one, and now it's like this is like another like Chat GPT style moment for like DeepSeek is like in the general populace vocabulary again, versus like there's been a whole lot of things happening in the interim between Chat GPT and now, but somehow this event really kind of picked up into the mainstream again, and then therefore like they have an app, like people were like getting off the Chat GPT app and going to that. But then I think it was just last night or the day before, like Wiz published a security like report where they were seeing that like the hosted version of DeepSeek, what they're running, their public version of it, that they were able to get into some exposed log stream and like lots of potential exposed questions and sensitive data in like it was like a ClickHouse database that was like unauthenticated, and people were able to get in there and see what's going on. So I guess just obviously as this new technology progresses, use at your own risk, especially the publicly hosted models run by somewhere else,
right?
Because you never know what's happening there under the covers.
I've had that with customers where they'll say that there's a huge sensitivity to the data lineage for the request reply chains, and where is that data going? Like privacy is a really big deal, and I think that Wiz security report kind of puts everyone on notice to go, this is, we all talk about you pull out an arbitrary image from Docker Hub, your mileage will vary as to how risky that is, but it's usually precarious in an enterprise setting. This is next level, because now you've got a SaaS offering behind the scenes where there's no bar of entry technically to use it. If you can speak any language, you can use it, which makes it, pretty easy for it to be a little honey trap.
Yeah, I'll post the Wiz article here in chat if anyone wants to check it out. But yeah, definitely check that out. But I guess that kind of plays into two of kind of a lot of people, I think, will again kind of go to the privately hosted self-managed model where you can control that, right?
Right.
You could take those models and pull them behind an air gap and run them there. Can't really go anywhere, so to speak.
Hugely different dynamic. But now take the promise of the reinforced model that DeepSeek has brought out, where the hardware demands to run it have just been kind of order of magnitude adjusted in thinking. I got the note. I think I was reading about this morning. We're not going to stop, no matter how good this gets. Okay, there might be a way to optimize to get that order of magnitude more bang for your buck in your inferencing, but that doesn't mean we're there. It just means that there'll be even greater capabilities brought into the same amount of capacity.
Yeah. And then if we look at, I just pulled up the Llama library here. So even if we take it like the Deepseek-r1 release, which we'll probably talk a lot about today, and we can even I've got multiple kind of situations going on. I think you guys do as well. So if we look at that main release, so the original model, right? This is a 671B version. So it's actually like if you want to run DeepSeek on your own gear, you're gonna need a lot of juice, so to speak, especially if you want to run it on GPUs. But you can pull a quantized version down and probably fit it in like 400 or 500 gigs of RAM. So there's been some reports online and things too where people have already done that and getting some, like it's relatively slow, or like making some tweaks where they can run it. But obviously, if you're going to pull that full version down, you're going to probably want some higher power hardware, just because it's such a large model. So on that, we'll maybe get to this later. I'm actually been like toying around with trying to pull it down on one of my hosts as well, where I've got enough RAM, so I've kind of got it pulled. But I don't, I was working in an air gap, so I had to do some things to get into that. But we can cover that later. But then there's all these other models that were released as well. So there's the distilled models, where they essentially DeepSeek has taken R1 and then used that to kind of fine tune and take kind of like mash it into an existing smaller model. So like the Quinn series and like the Llama series, they've made distills of that, where you get that same like reasoning level construct, but on a much smaller footprint. So I've got a lot of those too, and been testing around as well. So very interesting to see how that's progressing.
Is this distilling? That's the breakthrough ones. I think that's the term of the week anyway. Distilled models. I don't know, to me at least.
Yeah.
But that's where we're seeing the kind of disruptive kind of wow factor, right?
Yeah, because then that's another thing too, is that as these kind of newer models get released, other people can then take that and then take that work and then like apply it somewhere else. So like the distilling and fine tuning that kind of happens like in the Hugging Face ecosystem too, is like these base models kind of get morphed and changed, and you can see many different kind of variations of these base models, where people fine tune them against like a different or like a specific data set and things of that nature. So it's I just like as these new models get released, it's usually like in the coming weeks or months, you have people then doing like very interesting things with them. And even I guess DeepSeek has started to probably because they realize that like just having the native 671B parameter model, it's quite large. So like you can only work around some of those, that resource requirement on so many devices. So
what are you going to try and run it on in terms of what kind of capacity you're going to try and throw at it?
I unfortunately don't have enough GPU capacity. So I do like, I've got I went to Bartowski's like Hugging Face site, and I was able to get the Q4 version of it. Should only take like 377 like gig or whatever. So I'm trying to attempt to run it in memory on a very large VM I've deployed. I need to make sure I've like made the files correctly, because even if you get, so we can just go to Hugging Face here. Zoom in here. Let's see. So this is Bartowski is a pretty popular in the space here. But if we go to, he's got to have DeepSeek. Where can I search for him? All right, here we go. So he's got the GGUF release of that. And you'll see all these different kind of versions of it, right? Where they like the Q8, because it was actually trained, because they actually the trainer was in like FP8 versus I think 16. So like the native format of this is Q8, and then the full size is 713 gig. So you would need like a little bit more than that in terms of either GPU VRAM capacity or memory. So, and then 700, let's just say maybe 800 gigs of VRAM of GPU. That's
a pretty
that is many cards together. So, if anyone wants to send me like 10 H100s, that'd be cool. But yeah, so I was kind of targeting the Q4KM release, which is kind of in the 400 gig range. So we'll see if I can get that to work. But I think one of the struggles I was dealing with is in an environment. I couldn't just do because like the Gen AI tile will just go and pull directly from the Olama library. But like we're in the air gap, and that's fine. So we have a way to work around that. But when you're working with models of this size, they chunk them up into multiple GTUF files. So it's like 40 gig, like 38, 38, 38. So you got to pull them all down, and you got to kind of like merge them together. And then I had issues of, all right, now I have like a 400 gig GTUF file. How do I get up to my Minio server? And then I was getting like errors on like max, blocks. Like I couldn't even upload the file, and had to figure out how to upload the file to Minio. And it was I think I worked around it, but I just need to validate to see what we're getting there. But if you're going to go full, there's a lot of. I mean, that's another thing too. Is that it's hundreds of gigabytes in size, just disk space. So like you got to have that there too as well.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of a quick deep dive into, like, to say this is like these are the stilled versions of DeepSeek, which aren't technically really DeepSeek. They are really just base model. Other base models have been fine-tuned with DeepSeek, and have that kind of reasoning thinking, and we can show that in a second. And then the other ones are like this. If you want to go to the full version, there's a lot of things to work around.
Which one did you get working, Tim?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, that was me.
Mine, I just I'm not sure exactly which one. I obviously don't have the largest one, but I honestly I didn't know that they had all of the different sizes. So maybe that's something we can talk about. How I configured my tile with just sort of the Deepseek-r1, which whatever the default download is from Ollama, I'm guessing that's what I got. So what is that? What would be the default download? The 7.
Oh yeah, that's a good So that's a. Let me go back and see. Let's go to Deepseek-r1. Yeah, so Deepseek-r1, right? You look here. That's defaulting right now to the 7B. So I guess this is just, there's some nuances with Ollama, right? Is you can do like an Ollama pull Deepseek-r1 real easily, but there's all these tagging tags that you can look out for. So a lot of people will just do that and not even pay attention to the tags. And actually, I think even Ollama has been starting to get a little bit of flack from, I guess, maybe the more serious folks in the AI community, where they're, because of this, some, that mislabeling or misconception happens. We're like, well, I think I'm downloading the actual like Deepseek-r1. Well, no, it's actually the Qwen 2 7 billion distillation, right? So it's kind of like, if you want, you can look in this tag, the tag category, and you can get latest, which will be kind of the default, and like the latest and the 7B match in size, so the 4.7 gig. But then you can go down to like 1.5 and all these different parameters. And then you can go, if you want to, then get into specific quantized levels and things of that nature to get different performance things. So every I guess pro tip in Ollama, there's look in the tag section and scroll down and kind of see what might work best for your scenario. Yeah.
And my Bosch VM definitely is using 4.4 gigs of space. So I think that's a good guess. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting.
Now, did you want to get into your system and see how you had it configured? I know y'all had some questions about some GPU stuff as well.
Yes. So, just kind of building off of that home lab show, I was ashamed to be present amongst all of these great home labs. I had my measly little server, and Deshaun's talking about how he's got 3,000 Raspberry Pis just scattered somewhere. We got Nick is scrolling back to his UPS backed up data center he basically has in his basement. So I went and I bought a server. I bought an eBay. I went to eBay and I got just a workstation. I wanted a workstation form factor, so I got a T7920 with 512 gigs of RAM.
Nice, nice.
And
the Dell, right?
The Dell 20. So I can get into that a little bit.
Yeah, I've been eyeing this as well. So I would love to get your firsthand knowledge of this, because I need more boxes in my data center.
I'm very keen to see what you got. For sure. So that's an Intel i7, is that right?
It's whatever the platinum is. They have like platinum, gold. I'm not really sure what I've got there.
It's gonna be very similar to the HP.
The one I got.
Yeah, Z8 G4. So
yeah.
So
it was funny after the Home Lab show in December. I thought I had a lot of boxes, and then Nick kind of says, "Hold my beer," and we all look at Nick's basement and go, "Oh my goodness!" And I had dusted off going from a little Nook size 128 gig Supermicro to the 256 gig. I think it was an R600. So I was, it's a ceiling I needed to lift, but I also took the plunge. Nick, you counseled me. I went HP Z8 G4, but Keith coached another friend of ours, Chris, and he bought. We didn't know we were doing this, but on the same day, we both pulled the trigger. You guided me, Keith guided him, and in the end, he got the Z840s, so the other one, and we were kind of just laughing at the coincidence of it all.
Yeah. But I guess maybe it's my fault because you were looking at the 840 and I was like, well, maybe you want to look at this. And then you doubled your spend, and I'm sorry.
My fun story to that is that you mentioned there's a small Quattro GPU card in it. Great, I'll take it. I take it home, turn it on. It's in the kitchen on the counter, and my 10-year-old runs around. And he sees this Windows PC that could play games, and he thinks it's Christmas again. So there's in the blur over there. There's a box, and then when I'm not working, he can take out the hypervisor and run Windows.
Nice. Oh yeah, did it come with Windows pre-installed then on it?
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. All right. Yeah, Tim, are you ready to? I can put your screen on there. I just want to.
Yes. So I'm. This is sort of like what I've got. 96 CPUs, about a half terabyte of RAM. Some SSD storage or NVMe storage, about 3 terabytes down there. Some SATA disk as well. So
what was hold on, we can't just, what is this?
I'm also wondering.
Yeah, what is this Grafana? Is this did you build your own Grafana instance here? Is this some pre-can thing that you pulled or somewhere?
So this was just a template I downloaded for vCenter, but I just added it to my HealthWatch instance. So this is
look at you.
So we've got all of the HealthWatch metrics that I've got for my CF environment, which is helpful. And then just threw a template in here. It's backed by InfluxDB. Actually, I didn't actually throw the vSphere metrics into Prometheus, oddly, because I had a harder time with Prometheus and vSphere than I did with Influx. So that's just the way I kind of rolled it together. So
very cool.
Just kind of simple.
Sorry, I just had to. You got me at a nice Grafana graph. So
yeah,
thank you. Yes, I appreciate it.
Nick read my mind. I was going to ask the same question.
All right. So what I was asking you earlier is that the machine I got, which is this guy, which is running 6162 Xeons. It did come with a GPU. It's a small one. It's let me see if I can get it here. So if we go to configure and I get to graphics, I've got a Quadro P620, which isn't anything big, but I figured why not use it, right? If I can. So I was asking, like, how do we get this to, work with the Gen AI tile so that we can use, PCI pass through, and then maybe it'll speed up the model a little bit more. Because I'm asking it questions, and it does take some time to use this DeepSeek model within the Gen AI tile, because it's basically using a CPU profile at this point, so no GPU usage at this point.
Yeah, Quadro, was it a P620? Yes. Okay, I need to read the NVIDIA data sheet on it really quickly and just see. What the specs are. So we got 2 gig. Okay, so it's got like 2 gig of VRAM. So we could play around with some of these really small models. We might be able to get some acceleration there. So is it Pascal? I think it's Pascal. So I guess another thing too, like the generations, kind of matter. Yeah, so it's Pascal, hence the P. But then there are a lot of like K cards out there too that are really cheap. But that's
Mhm.
the previous Kepler version, and like they're kind of definitely on the fence of like I don't know how long they're going to be supported by like CUDA and things. So just like if just a general side note, if you're out there looking for some kind of cheap card, I would at least get Pascal or higher, just because of general support issues with things. But this should work pretty well with Olama. So if we go down to let's see here, there's like maybe scroll down more on that page. There's like a thing for PCI devices.
Don't see that.
Let me pull up my own vCenter, and sometimes I need to like click the buttons myself to remember where to get there. Sorry about the typing on the. If anyone listened, I'm sure I just blew some people's ears off on those keystrokes. So let's see.
PCI devices should be under hardware.
Yeah, hardware. Oh, yeah, PCI devices. Yeah.
Guess I don't.
Are you on the host?
You host graphics from our. How come you don't have PCI devices? That's interesting.
Huh. I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Can you go maybe try your hypervisor directly?
Are you in vCenter or vSphere?
This is vCenter.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So let me stop sharing for a second.
Yeah.
That is bizarre.
All right. So manage hardware PCI devices.
Yeah. If you can't find it there, I know a couple of websites of how to find it.
Okay. Well, maybe this is yeah. So I mean, this is the ESXi host.
Do you even put your screen back?
I thought I did.
Or I have to add it back. Sorry. Can you command plus that a bit?
What version of vSphere are you running, Tim?
803.
Okay, yeah.
In the search, can you search for NVIDIA there? What does it show if you do a search on the PCI devices? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so it's that one. So just toggle over the bottom one, because that's like some of these come with a audio controller. You don't really want that.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so the vendor ID is going to be 10DE if you look at that. So it's in hex format here, 0x 10DE. So it's 10DE, and I guess a pro tip is the vendor ID is the same for all NVIDIA cards. So really, you just need to find the device ID, and that's going to be 1CB6.
Okay. So
and
the device ID.
Yeah, you can copy that.
So here's here's my ops manager. So I'm creating a new VM type. Selecting PCI pass through.
You don't need leave that blank. And then this is where you put the vendor ID of 10DE.
Without the 0x, I'm guessing.
One second.
Or do we need it?
Let me just check in mine. Now I'm like double questioning my life. Make sure I tell you the right thing. My ops man's loading. 1 second. So it's actually in hex format still. So 0x10DE. Yes, keep that. And then you just go and copy that other format of that device ID.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I did put in chat too. There's a website called devicehunt.com. If you just basically, and even like the AI Google search result, I think responded correctly. If you just say what is my device ID for, GPU,
got it.
It will find kind of give you that mapping as well. So I guess it's just another thing if you want to kind of validate what you're seeing or just double check there.
All right.
Yeah, that should be all you really need, because you won't need, if you go up to, there's 2 other options. You don't need to do any of that 64-bit MIMO stuff because the card is under 16 gig of VRAM. So that really only comes into play when you have like a 24 gig card or a 32 gig card, 40 gig card, that type of thing. So yeah, you can save, and you should be able to add that as a VM type to your model.
All right, so we'll go back up to model config.
I would actually, let's deploy a new model if you want. Leave that and then do let's see. We'll do the tag of.
How many CPUs did you give it?
Let me see. 8.
Gotcha. 16 gig. Okay, thanks.
So yeah, if you add a new model and it's DeepSeek, or I can put it in. I guess I'll put it in the Google chat so you can copy it.
Okay.
Well, I guess I should put that in regular chat too. So that's what we're doing here. So we're adding the essentially colon 1.5B. So we're gonna use that 1.5B parameter model. Hopefully, it will fit in that 2 gig of VRAM of the GPU.
Okay.
And, we'll see what we can run, and then you can kind of do a compare and contrast of the 2 different models of CPU and GPU and things of that nature.
All right, that should be good. I'm going to name that Deepseek. Okay.
Cool.
So we will go here, apply changes.
Yeah. And I should run the errand to deploy a new worker. Yeah. And then I guess, Findsy, if you wanted to do that with that P2000, it would be a similar experience. But
yeah, I'm trying to do it in the background right now.
Yeah, the P2000, I think it's like 4 gig of VRAM, so you might be able to run a little bit like bigger model too as well. But there's a guy, like a YouTuber, like Digital Spaceport. He's done a lot of work on like the ultra low end of things as well, of like using Olama and running some of these smaller models on like P2000s or below.
Right.
So he's got different builds of like if you just want to do this in your own home lab on your own not just playing around using all the open source stuff, not using any obviously any of the Tanzu stuff, but different builds of like here's a $150 PC I'm using, and all the way up to a quad GPU like kind of mining rig converted into a Olama box basically.
Wow.
So just if you just want to watch some cool stuff about AI as well, that's Digital Spaceport's a good thing to check out.
Did you say 10DE is the vendor ID for all the NVIDIA cards?
Yeah, it'd be 0x. Here, I'll paste it.
In Opsman, I was looking at my own screen. So you did a 0x before you typed in the hex. You prefix.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So in preparation for that, I guess I will update my manifest for Open Web UI for another service. I'll have to create another service as well. Mm-hmm. So I'll do Deepseek. I'll just one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing too that we can show off. Open Web UI is pretty popular in the AI space as well. We use that. So.
Yeah, I was messing around with it. So I just basically did some summarization tasks And basically copied and pasted something from some article, asked it to summarize. It took a good amount of time with R1, and then I did it with Llama. Llama came back a lot faster, and I think it did a little bit better job summarizing, just because it, basically the summarization of DeepSeek was longer than the actual article, which was interesting.
Well, yeah, I think too, if you could, yeah, so I guess with the DeepSeek model, like the R1 release, it's got this like reasoning process, right? Where like, and I don't know, like you ask it a question, you're like, even just tell me a joke. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna like, I don't know, I could, if you want to load it on yours and ask it, or I could load it on mine. Like it shares like its chain of thought.
Yeah, it does. It's right here. Like,
yeah, which is cool, but it's also like, all right, like just hurry up and stop thinking and just tell me the answer, type of thing. So yeah, so it thought for 2 minutes. Oh yeah, so you're on a I think a newer build. So I'll have to see what version of Open UI you got pushed out there. So on a side note, so it thought for 2 minutes, and then it has this chain of thought of like the tell me a joke is kind of hilarious because it thinks of all these different jokes, and then it's like, what's going to be the funniest to this person? I don't know, and it kind of gets there.
Right.
But
yeah, I didn't see the thinking for the joke because that was the first thing I asked it. But anyway,
why don't skeletons fight each other? Because they don't have guts. Yeah, it's a pretty funny joke.
But it was interesting. Like I came back down here and I asked it. I don't know. I asked it differences between two cars. I wanted to see what kind of data it contained for that kind of question. And it did actually say, like, they've been talking about jokes with me before, like the skeleton joke. And then they provided some technical content about Cloud Foundry Tanzu Platform. So what are they getting at? So they're just trying to use use the previous, I guess what is that? That's like sort of like agentic, I guess. So it's trying to sort of build an answer based on previous questions that I've asked, which completely have nothing to do with each other, but it was trying.
It's trying to use like its context to like reason based on like your questions. So like theoretically, like if you ask similar style questions, like it could like build on like its responses type of thing. But obviously, when you start throwing in there like jokes, skeletons, Cloud Foundry, and cars, like it's probably going to get a little confused, especially at these smaller level distillations.
This person is crazy.
Yeah. Oh man.
Uh-oh.
Install issues. What now? Did you sorry, side note, another key thing, did you toggle PCI pass-through on ESXi?
Oh,
I'm guessing.
Details.
Yeah, because I noticed vSphere will own the GPU now, and talking about having it available. I used to turn on PCI pass-through here. Advanced settings or something, or how'd you do it?
Yeah, it's all grayed out on your host. Like, if you go back to vCenter, can you see that?
Oh yeah, so this.
Yeah, you want to do shared direct.
And
click that, hit OK. And then there's another toggle as well. If you go to the cluster level, maybe can you see? No. Yeah, because usually.
Yeah, there's usually that PCI. I know what you're talking about. I don't know why mine doesn't have it.
Because that's where you toggle it. Because if you go to PCI devices, you can say pass-through enabled devices or all PCI devices.
I seem to remember.
Oh yeah, I see no items found on pass-through enabled.
Yeah, because you've got to find it in all PCI devices and then click on the enable the toggle to PCI pass-through.
So you do a. So there pass-through. Okay.
That's normal. It's just like you're missing a full like category there under hardware. Which I don't know. I'm confused on.
All right.
Did you like install under like maybe like a customized ISO or something? Like a Dell ISO or something?
No, I don't think so. There could be something with my vCenter that maybe it's not licensed properly.
Or maybe the service is down on it or something. Now we're into troubleshooting PCI devices not showing up, but that's where you would do it. So like Bosch can't deploy that, grab that GPU.
Yeah.
Is the VTX, the virtualization, turned on in the system BIOS?
I think so. I think it would have to be, right?
Yeah, you would have other issues.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Is there? Do you want to show this, Nick or Mark? Do you have this setting that you can kind of show off?
Yeah, I can show it. I was literally going. I'm half copying you, trying to get along. I didn't put the model in, but I'm rolling. And as it was rolling the Bosch VM, I realized I hadn't toggled PCI pass-through. I can try sharing what I have just to show where it is.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, and I wonder it may prompt to put your host in maintenance mode as well if you toggle that. I'm not sure.
Okay, let's see. Oh, I should probably pick a monitor that's got a reasonable resolution. Bear with me. Excuse me. So if I share here, hang on a second. When I hit share, it'll let me pick a screen, right?
Yeah, you should be able to select screen, windows, or
allow window screen. And I'm gonna pick this one. You guys seeing my vCenter?
Let me give it a second here. I see, yeah, vCenter. I'll add it to stage.
There we go. All right. So what I was doing, so from an Opsman perspective, it's going to complain, I know, but only because I didn't finish configuring it. I rolled prematurely. But if I go to vSphere, go to the host, what I did is I went down to the first thing which you did as well, Tim, was the graphics here, hit this guy, and I did that share direct. And then I'm assuming if I do share direct, then it doesn't matter about vGPU because there's a direct option.
Yeah, because the vGPU would come into play if you had the NVIDIA driver loaded, where you could then say, like, you can mix and match of, like, different vGPU sizes.
So we were doing, so this is, I guess, if you're doing VDI infrastructure, you can have partial GPU being, like, the graphics card being shared.
Well, even if it's, like, let's just say you, like, have an A100 and, like, the and the vGPU driver, you could slice that thing up into different sizes and things. You're like, hey, give me a big slice for.
Oh, okay. So we can actually have asymmetric sharing.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's very interesting. It's like 2 8s and a 16 out of a 32 card.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's it. All right. So I went to PCI devices. I searched here. I typed Quadro, not NVIDIA, because I'm in the device name. Checked it. Hit the toggle pass-through button. And they were the two changes I made. Yeah, I don't know. It's just bizarre. Your PCI devices on their hardware is not present.
Well, it's because the pass-through is not enabled explicitly on the ESXi host, and that setting was grayed out apparently, and I don't know why it's grayed out. So that's why it wasn't showing up. I think. So I'll have to figure out why. Like when we did that search for the NVIDIA card in the ESXi host, it was grayed out, and I wasn't able to change anything. So there's some reason for that. I'm not sure what.
That's interesting. You should say that because I'm going after this is not vCenter. This is the ESXi host for me that I think I just made the change on the vCenter side for. And if it's now active. Okay, I just haven't refreshed. Yeah, so there it is. I don't care about the audio controller, but the Quadro is there. What I wanted to do is just double check this again because I was looking at my screen when you guys were doing the configuration on yours, Tim. So we go into the tile. I gave it the Postgres database. I gave it a Hugging Face API key somewhere down here.
Yeah, a model config.
Yeah. Just slow to refresh.
And I guess the Hugging Face API key is only needed really if you're using VLM. But if you're just using Olama models, like that's not really used.
Okay. So we created a VM here.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I did. Quadro, 8 CPU, 16 memory, 65 of disk. PCI pass-through.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to blank out that vGPU name.
Oh, just don't put anything there. Okay.
Yeah, it's blank. Yeah, because it's only if you're using the Mm-hmm.
And then 10 DE and 1C30. Go back here. 10 DE, 1C30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Blank and blank.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the machine, so I'll update the machine type to be that.
Yep.
And then what I did not do is give it a default model. I was not paying attention when you guys did that. So where are we for? I'd like to try and put the same model Tim put in, or
yeah, the model config.
Yeah. So we've added this. Would it be an Olama or VLM?
Yeah, add an Olama model. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then model name. Let's see. I pasted this somewhere. Put it in chat again. So the Deepseek-r1 1.5b. Right. I put it in Google chat there. You just copy.
Where's my G-chat gone? Thank you. So if I go Deepseek-r1 1.5b, alias doesn't matter, I'm assuming, and we're just going to have a chat version.
Yeah, and then you can leave basically all that blank, and then type in VM type where you get the red asterisk, Quadro.
What did I call it? Yep. I don't know.
AZ, check the AZ.
Did I call it P200? I forget. My brain's not.
I think it was just Quadro, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
Save.
Programming. We're not carrying with the rest of it, are we?
I mean, if you wanted to, you could do like throttling, where
yeah,
like you throttle. Yeah, but probably not with this. Yeah.
Telling me. So I saved that. I have to wait for the original one to fail because there's no model defined in it, and then I'll get the updated config. Interesting to see if it actually picks up the card though. The VM.
Well, if you didn't deploy a model, then try to deploy a worker.
Okay, so we're just going to end here then. Oh yeah, well, the deploy worker won't have any. Yeah.
Yeah. So it might actually succeed because it's not going to try to deploy any workers. So it's just going to. I don't. Yeah.
Just compiling it. It should be quicker next time though.
Yeah. So yeah, you should be good to cook there too. Then.
Say it again.
You should be good to try that out there as well. But once it gets deployed.
Oh yeah. I'll just redeploy then. So I'll stop sharing for now. And
cool. Now
maybe we'll get a chance before time for the update.
Yeah. Did I answer your questions there, Tim, about the GPU stuff?
Okay. I think so. I'm wondering if I have to get into the BIOS and maybe there's some kind of setting that allows for PCI pass through with this machine. Or something.
Yeah,
so,
that's
to get that ungrayed out.
That's Googling. I'm like, we need. There's got to be some kind of Googling there. But
I tried a special version VSXi with the HP drivers. That it was painful until I got that version. It just became a straight road. I did have to have legacy boot enabled. It's the interesting part about the older chipsets that mileage varies in.
Yeah, that could be another thing too of how you have, are you on UEFI or legacy, BIOS boot, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But the Dell that T7920, that's pretty common build out there for a lot of home lab folks. So I'm sure somebody's got some kind of config out there.
Yeah, I'll dig around, see what I can find. Because and it's interesting because it's I was trying to find some more storage, and I had to dig a little bit to figure out that the tower doesn't support SAS drives. You have to have just regular SATA drives. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but SAS drives are super cheap online. If you go on eBay, you can get just gobs and gobs and gobs of SAS drives, spinning drives for very little money. So, but that didn't work out for me.
Actually, I did the Micro Center visit after I got the box because I had to go get discs, and I asked the guy at the store. I said, I haven't built a gaming machine in forever, since before the kids. So I've been out of the loop building home labs for recreation. And I said, so you still selling spinning Rust? Because I got a brand new NVMe drive for like $250. The SATA drive was $299. That ballpark for 4 terabyte drives. And so with that kind of price point, which just blew my mind, I was wondering, do they sell 3.5-inch regular drives anymore? And he said, oh, yes. I said, why? He said, capacity. I said, well, what are you at now? And he had 22 terabyte drives for $499.
Yeah.
Said, what?
Yeah.
2 terabytes.
Yeah. People are definitely building some pretty crazy, NAS devices and things with some of these just ultra large devices, like hundreds of terabytes. It's not uncommon anymore.
Yeah, I was like blown away when I heard the numbers. And then he said the most common disk they sell is like a $299, not a solid state drive, a regular drive, but it's I think 18 terabytes or something. So in that ballpark. And you just buy 2 and you're done for a very long time.
Yeah. Nice.
So, yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I know we're kind of coming up on the top of the hour. We definitely kind of dove into the DeepSeek stuff. So I think we did covered enough of the kind of politics around it and kind of what's going on. And hopefully, if you're watching this and you wanted to see how you could do this within the Gen AI tile and CF, hopefully we kind of gave you a little bit of an example. But obviously, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to myself via my own social channels or via the CF Weekly, YouTube or LinkedIn or whatever. So yeah, just or any of your local Tanzu sales and architects as well. So, but yeah, hopefully that was a good kind of dive into probably a relatively brief dive into the Deepseek-r1 situation.
Yeah, I think, Nick, the only thing we kind of didn't get to because of my inadequate hardware again is just basically once they got through that deployment, you now have a marketplace instance of that model that you just created or you just made available, and you throw it in your manifest with the Open Web UI, and you're there. You've got a chatbot right there ready to start answering questions. So.
I mean, should I show that really quickly? Because I have a lot of those.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I love that.
All right, I gotta prepare my screens again. I got all my windows all comfy again, and now I'm like, I gotta drag things all around. So let's see here. If we go to in this one, I have many models deployed. So I was testing all the different distills. So let's see here. If like the R1 1.5b. Let's do a new chat. And tell me. This is on CPUs. I think it's on the CPU large profile, so like 14V CPUs. So that was pretty fast. So interesting enough too, like that it didn't think on this one. Think blank think, and then here's its go-to joke is how to skeleton or why don't skeletons fight each other because they don't have guts. Now the funny thing is like now tell me a joke about cats. This is where it starts thinking and like it gets lost. Yeah, so it's like, I need to come up with a joke about cats.
stream of consciousness.
Yes, yeah. Well, she's cats because they just eat them. So, I don't know. These DeepSeek distills have kind of like a, I don't know, a strange twist of humor.
Greg's got it.
Yeah. And then just now for fun, just like tell me about Cloud Foundry. Like we're just really gonna.
So I have to say, while you're doing this, I'm very interested in how large the model needs to be before we'd have a really good productivity backend for like an MCP app. Help us with, say, Cloud Foundry ops, Java upgrades, and so on. Because I've seen that some demo work is really awesome where an MCP plugin was written for the Spring Advisor. So you would get your Java upgrade rules triggered by an interaction with a bot. So the hand-holding is just amazing. I wonder how good a model we need behind that.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go learning next.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that. So I was doing a lot of work with Chris Phillipson with Sanford. So we were kind of early or late last year trying to test out different models and like how rate them and like because he's got Sanford wired up to like ingest a bunch of data and like store it, and then you can like ask questions on it and like kind of like a little bit more of a realistic type of thing. So kind of before the MCP stuff even happened too. So I got to re-pick that up and see. But then obviously, with all they probably can do a separate dedicated episode just on MCP and how that works with like the agentic flow.
Yeah, like that's just very interesting to me. It's like we're now putting the two big developments in the last like month into one.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Great session. I've done this offline anyway. I was going to ping you, Nick. Anyway, but there's the hand setting up my lamp here again.
Yeah. We're multitasking, right? And sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then and all of these models are backed on the CF marketplace as well. But we're getting kind of close on time, so I'm not going to try to get into Apps Manager. But
very cool.
Yeah. All right. Without, I guess, probably try to wrap up here. I know Tim, you got to drop. But everybody watching, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out, cloudfoundryweekly.com. If you want to listen to us in podcast format, just so you stay up to get notifications when we're live next and what we're doing next on the show. Without that, thanks for watching, and give a shout out to Greg Meyer and Coffee and Software for joining as well. Sorry, I was a little slow on the chat as well. But thanks for watching. We'll close the show with a CF bye.
CF bye.
Bye.
Take care.